It's Friday, the 1st of October 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
All right, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Here we go. Story number 1, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg is upbeat about the economy. The government gets an $80 billion boost. What's going on?
Well, the budget deficit for last financial year came in at $134 billion. That's about $80 billion better than the government expected, and that's after the government spent $311 billion in economic and health support during the financial year. In short, the economy was stronger than the government expected. It meant it paid out less in welfare and received more in tax receipts. It really matters because it's a starting point to this financial year. Now, 1 quarter in, if that's a quarter we know we contracted, all market economists and the Reserve Bank think that, things are looking okay. Mr. Frydenberg yesterday said the bill for the Delta variant outbreak will top about $20 billion, but some of the economic indicators haven't been too bad. We found out this week that retail figures fell during August due to lockdowns, but they weren't a disaster. In fact, Jarden Economics thinks there's about $2 billion available there to be spent. Job vacancy figures aren't great, but again, they're not a disaster. And yesterday, Bureau of Statistics figures showed that dwelling constructions actually rose during August. All in all, things don't look too bad.
All right, that's story number 1. On to number 2, markets. We have had an incredible week. Yesterday was another volatile day.
Crazy. The S&P ASX 200 fell 1.5% on Tuesday and then more than 1% on Wednesday. Yesterday, it jumped by almost 2%. In fact, yesterday was the best day since November last year. It means that for the September quarter, the index actually ended up higher. Now, the iron ore bounced yesterday. That helped BHP and Rio Tinto as well as Fortescue Metals. The banks did well, particularly Westpac, National Australia Bank and ANZ. In fact, about 80% of stocks on the top 200 rose yesterday and all the 11 subsectors increased. And finally, the Aussie dollar is trading around 72 US cents.
Okay, story number 3 today is all about COVID. Yesterday was a pretty shocking day for Victoria.
It sure was. The state recorded 1,438 cases, which Premier Daniel Andrews put down to non-compliance with lockdown rules around the AFL Grand Final on Saturday. There's now reports that dozens of supermarkets across Melbourne could close this weekend because so many staff are in isolation. Coles has 3,000 employees in isolation across Victoria and New South Wales. Woolworths said up to 5 of its stores may have to close. The numbers in New South Wales yesterday weren't great, 941, but at least they've plateaued. Some of the regional areas of that state have gone back into lockdown, whilst Queensland recorded 6 new cases and the ACT recorded 31 new COVID cases.
Okay, story number 4 today is about Foxtel. Now, Foxtel is far and away Australia's most successful cable channel, but it's never made money, and streaming seems to have overtaken it. I know certainly in our household, we actually ditched Foxtel some time ago in favour of all the streaming services. However, yesterday, CEO Patrick Delaney outlined a different future.
He sure did. As you say, Foxtel's expensive and it just seems a bit old hat relative to all the new streaming services. Mr. Delaney wants to change that. He said it will become a digital streaming-led business. He's targeting 5 million subscribers in 3 years' time. And it sounds like he wants to list on the ASX. At the moment, the company has about 3.9 million subscribers. Now, its Kayo streaming service is doing reasonably well. That's 1.1 million subscribers. It's also now got Binge, Foxtel Now, and the just-announced Flash. But it's a very competitive market. As you said, you have all sorts of streaming services in your house, so do I. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, Stan, and more. That's what Foxtel's up against.
Yeah, there's plenty of choice. All right, on to story number 5. An interesting one today coming out of federal parliament and coalition MPs wanting to introduce a new bill to cap the pay of telco executives. What's going on?
That's exactly right, including Telstra boss Andy Penn. They want to cap his pay. The idea is that unless service levels improve, then Mr. Penn's pay should be capped. Obviously, these are rural and regional MPs, but what kind of a funny concept, I think, whereby, if I don't like the service I get from my bank, or I go to the supermarket and the queues are too long, should the CEO's pay be docked? It's about the equivalent of that.
I don't really have a problem with it. I've got shocking reception. I like someone to be held accountable.
Yeah, no, I don't think your MP was actually complaining about it there, Michael.
I suspect not. All right, Sean, there we go. 5 stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
It's Friday, the 1st of October 2021. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, then find our longer podcast called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. You can always find more info at fearandgreed.com.au and sign up for our free daily newsletter. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fear and Greed Business Headlines. Have a great day.